back to the channel. As you can see, I'm inside today. I believe it might be raining out. It's pretty dark and gray anyway, but I did mention in the last video that I wanted to kind of take another look at this barn painting and give you a critique from my perspective of what I see when I look at it. And it might be, there were a couple things I didn't see that I've had some feedback on since, so I'm actually going to not only be giving you my opinion, but actually some feedback from others as well. But for the most part, the fundamental problem, as I mentioned before, is just really the composition, and I mentioned in my last video just how important it is to get that nailed down in the beginning of the painting, that it's time well spent. And I know at times I'm just like super excited to get I get so inspired by a color or an effect or something that I'm in such a hurry to get it on the canvas that I forget some of those fundamentals, like really spending the time to draw out the scene and actually nail down a really good composition. So anyway, enough said about that. I'll get going here and kind of show you what we're working with, and we'll see. I have no problems losing this painting, so I know some people might say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're going back in there and attacking that painting, but my friend Richard Jordan would have scraped this painting a long time ago. So he scrapes more than he keeps usually, and maybe that's changed now, I don't know. But painting back over top of this, just consider it it's for my learning, and no problem. I don't mind losing the painting. But anyway, if it's a total disaster, it's a total disaster. All right, cool. I'll get repositioned here, and we'll get on with the video. Okay, so one of the first things that you'll notice, I'll just work from the top down. I ended up with way too much contrast between these two portions of the clouds, and I think what it did is it pulled these forward rather than push them back in the space where they belong. Even this one in the far distance here, it has multiple problems. Not only is the contrast kind of high, also it's very warm, and it would actually be just the opposite living way back there. So this needs to be dealt with in general, but the sky is the least of the worries in this particular case. So the trees, this was some of the brushwork that I was actually really happy with in this particular painting. I really liked some of the brushwork in here and over in here. The only thing that I think, it looks like we have two very different species of trees. That these kind of went toward looking like massive spruce trees or something like that, because they're very blue. And actually, what I needed to do was, they were very blue down in here in the shadow area, but I really wanted them to relate to these trees that are closer to the barn, and in order to do that, they needed to share, even though the color would be blued slightly, it's just too drastic. But it would share the same, some of these colors would also be where the light's hitting the tops of these trees, but recessed a little bit, and we'll see if we can't do something about that. But I want them to relate a little bit more to each other than they actually do. Now, I didn't get far enough along in this painting to even add any trunks to these trees, because I knew I was going to come back in and sort of attack this thing anyway. So But they did, this one had there should be some primary and secondary limbs visible there, and definitely some over here, and maybe you could see some of this. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, the next thing that was primary to the issues with this painting, just overall, is this whole issue with the composition. And if you look at this strong vertical and these strong diagonals, they basically lead you almost to the dead center of this canvas, which is like right there. And there's just nothing going on there. And there's such strong cues that they your eye can't help but just go there, and then you're like, okay, well, there I am now. Where do I go from there? So really, in reality, this peak should actually be probably somewhere over here. And in the field, I will tell you what I was trying to do was I was trying not to lose this little shed, because to be perfectly honest, I was more interested in the light and the colors that were in this shed than on the barn. But my goal was to challenge myself with a barn, so I tried to accomplish that. But I was trying not to lose this, and but really the painting is, because of the nature of man-made objects and the fact that as humans, that's the first place our eye goes when we're looking at a painting, is if there's a man-made object or a person in the painting. That's where our interest is drawn to. So I do have to get it properly positioned, and I think it definitely needs to move over at least that far. I'm kind of working over top of my camera, so you'll have to forgive me if I bump the tripod occasionally. So besides moving this point over to at least here, so that's going to shift this back, and we'll just catch a little bit of that. I didn't want to get this too close to the edge because I wanted some room for movement here. So I think we'll probably bring it over, maybe we'll bring this point anyway over to about here. Then we had some issues with these roof lines. And this is just a perspective problem that I was dealing with. This top line is actually going somewhere out into space over here. The line that's actually correct in here, based on where this hill is rising here, and so really the horizon line is somewhere in here, right about there. I'll use my stick here. So the horizon line is like in there somewhere. So what happens is, let me put a point out here. So this line is actually pretty good based on where I think the vanishing point is out here in the distance. So, and this line is not too bad. This one is off a little bit. It's actually going kind of above the horizon line, and this one is going severely above the horizon line. So, so what I have to do in the meantime is we want to make sure we get these vanishing points correct, because this roof, these appear anyway. They're not, but they actually appear because of the lack of having them correct, like they're parallel. So I'm not drawing a geometric shape, except I'm drawing a shape that's actually living in space. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you. I'm not even sure that it makes total sense to me, but I know how to fix it. That's what's important. So let's get a couple drawing things nailed down here, and then we can once we have that established, then we can deal with some of these color issues. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to take this line that's basically here to this peak, and we're going to move it over. Let's see, where's my middle again? It's like right, like there's the middle. We're going to move it over about here. And so this line is going to move about the same distance. So it's going to be somewhere just before the break in that. And then this line will be somewhere right in here. Whoops. Okay, so let's drop this in here and let's get a feel for it. So the first thing we want to do is we just want to establish this line correct, which is roughly there. So I can see that, and then we'll get this one coming off of this corner right here. Now, I don't always obviously do this in the field, but in this particular case, I want to make sure we got it correct. So that's our new peak. So this line's going to go up there, and this line, which is actually parallel to this one, is going to go like this. And this one here is actually going to a vanishing point that is over there, and that's another thing that wasn't exactly correct. If the horizon line is out here, this line is actually going to go to that vanishing point out there somewhere. All right. All right, so basically that's it. That's the new position for the barn. So a little bit different than the other one, but let's do a little painting around it and see if we can't get that blocked in. So, all right, I'm going to speed things up a little bit, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so while I was getting ready to put some color on here, I actually moved this barn just back in space just a little bit. The way I had it drawn a minute ago actually brought it a lot closer, and I didn't intend to do that. I actually wanted to make it go a little further away. So anyway, I just quickly did the same thing I did before, and just kind of threw that down. And now we'll just figure out kind of where the edges are, and see what we can do here. Just gonna kind of mix some. I'm using a little cobalt violet and just a touch of sap green and a little bit of ultramarine blue. And all I'm trying to do right now is just kind of figure out where this edge is right here. So I'm just going to block that in there. From a directional standpoint, what I intend to do is I want this to go. That's pretty serious for a ground color. Okay, I want this to go this direction because I want a few directional cues here. So we're going to get this moving this way. And then in front of the barn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these colors that are happening in front of the barn, and I'm going to actually get them going this way. So because the way it was going before, everything was kind of running off the canvas this way. So what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a visual wall that, you know, keeps the viewer inside the painting. So we're going to get some rows here going that way, some rows out here going this way, and that should make a big difference in that. Okay. So now I'm just sort of evaluating it, and there's this one thing that's happening here. This angle is not quite right over here, so I think this has got to go out just slightly. And maybe this has to come over a touch to make that happen. Okay, I feel a lot better about that. So, all right. So I'm going to paint a little bit now, and it's kind of, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm actually straddling my tripod, working around in front of the camera. So I'm just going to paint for a couple minutes, and then I'll kind of evaluate with you kind of where I'm at. All right, cool. All right, so you can see, you can kind of see what I've got accomplished here after I got that outline of the barn in. It wasn't that difficult to move it over, and I'm glad I pushed it back in space just a little bit. And I think these lines entering into the painting here and then carrying you toward the barn here are quite successful, and I like that. I like that a lot. So I did a little work in the trees, not much. I haven't really messed with this side yet because I'm thinking that in general I'm not hating it. So, but what I am going to do next is just go ahead and do some little work in the sky and see if I can't improve that, and then I think I will have accomplished what I set out to do. So let's get that sky taken care of. Okay, so you can see I've added some highlights here in the foreground that leads up to this house, and actually I need to just kind of kill some of these a little bit where they get right up next to the house, to the barn. It's not a house, sorry. There, that's better. Bringing these trees to life, I kind of came in and added just a few primary branches over here, and I'm just going to soften this one just a little bit here, and then I'll go back on the other side over here, and we'll just drag a couple. Oop, that was kind of light. Let's darken that up a bit. All right, so totally too strong, so we kill that a little. And we just need the impression of some branches, not actually branches themselves, so not too many. And then I think we'll just go just right up through here. And then maybe we'll just gray these down just a bit. Gray and blue. We'll just add I don't want to get any closer to the edge than that, so all right. I think that is going to do it. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for today, and this was a really good exercise, and I think the repositioning the barn actually made a really big difference. And you know, every time you study one of your own paintings for a while, you're going to find things that you didn't notice before and things that you want to change. And so you know, it's obviously no longer a plein air painting, although inspired by the time when I painted it in the field. So I didn't destroy it. I think I improved it. And thanks for following along. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share it if you like it. And I will catch you later.